YouTube Adventure Possible channel. I got something special for you. I call it epic because I am super pumped up and excited to do it. We all have hobbies. We all have little projects that we like to do and take them on and basically go all in on them. But today I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman that I attend church with. His name's John Tarbet, and he's had a little project going for a little while, and he gave me permission to come over and give him a little interview and let him share his story on what he's been doing the last couple years on a project car that he's been working on. And without further ado, I'm going to walk into the garage there and show it to you. But it's a 1965 or a replica 1965 Cobra. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see it, and we'll take a walk around it. Check this out. There it is, folks. Isn't that thing gorgeous? Hey, John.
Good morning.
Welcome to Adventure Possible. I'm just going to take a quick stroll around this thing, show them this thing, and then we'll have a little interview with you. And you can share with us whatever you'd like to share. Sound fair?
I'll be happy to.
All right, those side pipes look super cool. Yeah, this thing is cool. Thanks for letting me come over and us do this and share with anybody. How you can open the hood? Oh, there we go. Check that out, folks. That is beautiful.
Just a small block Ford with a 4-barrel carburetor. It's kind of old school. Nothing special about it. Not particularly high horsepower.
Yeah, so street, this thing is street legal, right?
Yep.
So yeah. Drive it down the street and just look good. Well, if you don't care, I'll just hold the camera back here a little bit. But tell us what in the world, when did this all start? How did you get started? Why did you want to do it? Let's just go from there.
For 30 years, I've been wanting to do something like this. About 15 years ago, I rebuilt an old Mustang, and it had a lot of rusty parts and a lot of rusty bolts and stuff, and it took forever to do it properly. And I decided to do this one. I wanted all new parts. So this came, there's nothing on here that was used. It came from a company called Factory 5 Racing.
Factory 5 Racing, okay.
They send everything you need to make it drivable. There's some things that a lot of us want to add and make them do a little extra.
Right.
For example, it comes with one brake system, and I wanted to redundant to 2 brake systems, so I added the second brake reservoir.
Okay.
It comes with a mechanical clutch, and I wanted a hydraulic clutch, so I added a hydraulic clutch. It came with a cable drive accelerator cable, and I wanted the mechanical, so I added that. Things like that.
Yep. So this is a Cobra motor powered by Ford.
Yeah.
What kind of horsepower are we looking at here?
Well, I've never done it at the wheels, but a dyno tuned at 378.
Well, isn't that enough?
The car weighs about 2,200 pounds. So with me in it, it's about 2,500 pounds.
Yeah.
It takes care of itself as far as getting down the road. I put a high-speed rear end in it. It's a 323 rear end in it.
I love that color. What is it, like a charcoal metallic gray? Or?
It's called magnetic gray.
Magnetic gray.
Actually, it's the same color as that.
Oh, your truck, yeah.
Pickup truck.
Nice truck, too.
It's the same color that came on that.
Well, tell me what I'm seeing down here. I see the framework right there. Yeah. So how does it ship to you? Okay,
it comes with the frame that you see. All this aluminum in here that you can see comes on it temporarily.
Okay.
The body's sitting on the frame.
All right.
And so when you get it here, it also has 24 or 25 boxes of parts that comes along with it.
All right.
You know, like from headlights to taillights and shift levers and all kinds of things like that. And you get it in, you find all your parts and be sure you got everything in the list. And there'll be some things that are back ordered, and they'll have a parts on order list that they'll keep sending them to you.
Get them to you as they come in.
And then you have to get that inventory done. You pull the body off, and you take the aluminum off. And some people paint it, and some people sand it down and polish it. Just whatever you want to do with it. And then it all goes back on with pop rivets. And some of it you don't want to put on permanently till you're closer to being finished. So you use something called a Clico it's like a pop rivet, only you can take it in and out.
Gotcha.
And replace it. You take the body off and you put the suspension on it, you put a motor transmission in it, set the rear end in place, do those kind of things, the angles on your drive shaft. The drive shaft is about this long.
Okay.
It doesn't have much drive shaft. You're sitting on top of the transmission. The motor bell housing is right here in front of you. So those are things that, you put those all in. I put sound deadener in and then I laid the carpet. And
it looks like you got nice seats in there too. Look like
seats come from the company that sold the car, the whole thing. It all comes as part of the kit. I did add a thing from a company called Breeze Automotive that raises the front of the seat up about 1 inch, so it gives you a little better angle for your knees, and it gives you a little more leg room.
Gotcha.
The foot box is real narrow. I have to wear different shoes. I can't wear my tennis shoes and in there. Foot box is real narrow. That's basically what it is, but it takes some time, it takes some effort.
So when did you start on this thing?
I got it delivered in May of 2018. I ordered it on my birthday in February. Came for Mother's Day, and I started then. I don't spend a lot of time out here on it. I maybe 2 or 3 hours at a time. I don't like to work by myself that much.
So you tinkered a little bit every day.
Basically tinkered it whenever I had the time and whenever I had the parts, and I had something open that I could do. I did also go through a heart surgery and a hip surgery in that time period, so it took some time. So and I'm a novice too. I'm not really that much into it. When I was younger, I changed my own oil and did my own plugs and timing and that kind of stuff. But in terms of suspension geometry and all that, I'm new at it. And I just feel my way through.
So
I made some mistakes.
Yeah, well, I know you got some buddies at church that like to help out and tinker too, so they probably enjoyed helping out a little bit.
I have a list of guys that I email, and I send them whenever I have a need or for help or whatever, somebody extra hands. And one of the guys that's been on the channel before, Dan, has been here. He and my son just lives not too far from here, and he comes and helps. We put it together. Biggest thing was getting the motor in and out, that kind of thing.
Now, I know your son Josh. Is this part of his inheritance?
Well, it depends on how long I keep it. He thinks it is.
He thinks it is. Yeah. Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. No, Josh is a good man.
My grandson early on asked if he could take it to prom, and I said, I don't think your prom date would like to ride in it with her hair fixed.
Oh, that's true.
Blow her corsage up over the back of her head.
That's true, man. So, what about the wheels and tires? Talk to me about those.
Tires I bought locally. The wheels came with a kit. They are 15-inch. They are replicas of the original pin drive. They are not knockoffs. They are lugs behind these. They're hidden behind there.
Gotcha.
These things, the manual says, put them on, and there's a set screw to put into it. Well, if you put the set screw into it, it ruins the thread, so you can't get them off.
Oh no!
So then you're stuck with the wheel you can't get off the car.
So did you learn that by trial and error?
On the first wheel, yeah. And so they're just knocked on there with a rubber mallet to hold them on. They don't hold the wheel on at all, so it's no big deal. Part of the thing, these things will spin when you're trying to tighten them up, and some of the guys put silicone in there. I used a piece of pool noodle stuck in behind it to give it a grip and stays on.
Yeah. That's a good idea. So this is carbureted. It's not fuel injected.
Yes, it's carbureted.
So what kind of carb you got on that bad boy?
It's a QuickTime carburetor. It's not a high capacity carburetor,
Yep.
because I don't have a lot of horsepower going through it. So it's got, plenty.
I had a buddy in high school that had a 76 Camaro, and whenever he used to get on that accelerator, I mean, the four barrel kicked in, but it was a Holly 650 double pumper.
I think Holly and QuickTime are related in some way. But
Okay.
I don't quote me.
Gotcha.
But I think they are. One of the issues, when you're building one of these things, you're probably going to make a mistake or two. First time I put the front suspension on, I put it on the right side on the left, and the left side on the right. It took about 4 hours to correct that.
Yep.
When I put the brake system in, my reservoirs are just barely high enough to keep fluid going through the masters. So I have to be sure that they're always topped off. I don't have clutch or brake, that kind of stuff.
Right.
When I put the motor in it the first time and fired it up and started it and tried to put it into gear, it wouldn't go. I couldn't get the clutch to disengage the transmission. And I adjusted the clutch as much as I could, in and out, and so on and so forth. And I finally ended up taking the bell housing off of the back of the motor, and I had to move the pivot ball the width of a washer.
Oh, no.
Out. And then
that little bit of a...
little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought it would fix it, but I wasn't sure. But I couldn't get the transmission and motor married back together under the car. I was working on these jack stands. I didn't have a lift.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dan came over.
Yep.
We pulled the motor, built a little table and put the motor and the transmission together on the table, and then put it back in.
Wow.
And fired it up. Transmission works great.
Yep. That thing is beautiful, and I know we'll talk more about the inaugural test drive here in a few minutes, but I know you're excited to tell us about that.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you, stupid mistakes. I tell you what, we all make them though, but that's part of life. You learn from them and you get stronger. Let's just take a look at this thing again, folks. This thing is just super, super cool. Now, just out of curiosity, if any of the listeners on here, now we don't have a whole lot right now, so we have like 40 subscribers. We're aiming for more, but if anybody has an itch, are you interested in doing any consulting for people?
Sure, I'd love to. I love talking about it.
Yeah.
And if, as my time allows, I'd be glad to come and be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I may, if anybody's interested in that, just give me a direct message on a YouTube comment or whatever. And I know John is very knowledgeable and fast learner, so he probably won't make the same mistake twice. And then Dan, of course, he's been on here with me before a few times. I haven't found anything that he doesn't claim to know a lot about. Let's put it that way.
He was a lot of help.
He is. He's got that engineer mind.
He's got some specialized tools that I needed to use.
Yeah.
That's another thing, is getting enough tools.
Yeah, here's his shop. I mean, he's got a beautiful garage and beautiful shop. So
I mean, it's and we built this car in this garage without taking my wife's car or my truck out of the garage into the road.
That's impressive. And it's still, the floor looks clean and neat. So
now the truck had to back up against the door, and I had the body butt over there against the the wall. But
yeah, is it possible to order this thing from the factory already assembled?
Not from Factory 5. There are companies that do that, that make the Cobra replica without, it's all ready to go, except you got to put a motor and transmission in it.
Gotcha.
There are companies like that. But Factory 5 does not claim to be builders. They don't recommend any builders. They have a list on their website of people who do build, but they don't recommend it.
So this one, this version, this route, so to speak, it is a kit, and you got to be prepared to invest the time to build it.
Time and
Resources.
Money.
Yep, resources for sure.
Yeah,
So we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes as well. I'll tell you what, we're going to do a little reset here and then kind of go into interview mode. I'm going to set the camera over on the back of John's truck, and we'll be standing next to it. I'm going to ask him a couple more questions and kind of let him recap this. So be back with you here shortly. All right, I'm back with you. John, we just stepped over to the back of his garage there for a second. He showed me a picture of a Mustang that he restored. What year did you do this?
2007.
2007?
2008. Right before retired.
Take a look at this, folks. I'm going to show you the before pictures. Look at that picture right there. Look at that one. Look at that one. He's starting to piece it back together, it looks like.
Now, I was fortunate. There was a body shop where I lived in Jeff City that would let me go into their shop, and I was able to do a lot of demo work and that kind of stuff, but they had a pro do the body work.
Nice.
And I got all that done for about half price.
Yeah, now look at the finished product. Look at that thing. That thing was beautiful.
It went to Canada.
1967 Mustang, recent restoration. An automatic car with a 302. Aluminum intake with 4-barrel and GT correct dual exhaust. New upper and lower control arms and ball joints. New coils and leaf springs. He added power steering and power disc front brakes. The inner fenders, front and rear, have been replaced. This Mustang has been upgraded with exterior decor option. Louvered hood, wheel lip moldings, trunk molding. The interior has been completely redone with Dynomat added. You'll enjoy driving this car and taking it to the cruise night. So you sold that thing and it went to Canada?
Yep.
Wow. Hey, I'll tell you what. I blocked out his old email, but if anybody's doing a Shelby and you want to get wild and crazy and maybe call John. He said you could.
Sure.
He'd coach you along if you needed any help. 573-230-4559.
You'll have to leave a message.
Yeah, leave a message and he'll get back to you.
The phone won't answer if it doesn't know you.
All right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to set this camera over here and let's wrap up this interview. And if you would, John, just kind of bring it to a close. What were the highs? What were the lows? What brought you to tears? And can you relate it to anything that we're battling in life?
Well, frankly, nothing brought me to tears.
Yeah.
But that's been my philosophy in life. There's nothing that you really need to, especially your toys, should never bring you to tears.
Yeah.
There were problems with it. I don't know if I mentioned on the tape or not, but the pivot ball on the clutch needed adjustment, and it took quite a bit of effort to put that in. Little things. You know, you say you're going to build a car. That's overwhelming. But if you say, I'm going to put in brake lines today, you know, that's a small piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do fuel lines, or we're working on suspension.
Right.
That kind of stuff. I made some mistakes. I put the left front suspension on the right side and the right one on the left side. Of course, nothing worked for me to do that.
Yep.
Took about 4 hours to correct that. I put a brake caliper on upside down, and it obviously couldn't bleed the brakes when you did that. But you learn as you trial and error. And I don't mind doing things over. It's a lot easier to, The biggest thing I did was made the mistake of assuming because there was oil in the motor when I got it.
This is big right here, folks. He's confessing and he's sharing his heart with us, so pay close attention to this.
The biggest thing I did was I assumed because there was oil in the motor when the motor and transmission came that there was also oil in the transmission. And there wasn't. And after a few miles, I got stopped, dead stopped in the middle of the road. Fortunately, I wasn't on Highway 65 in the fast lane.
So the transmission just locked up?
Locked
with
up.
no fluid?
I slid to a stop. Well, I'm sure the transmission toast.
Yeah.
So I'm buying a new transmission.
That's why, I don't know if you can see it from that camera shot, but it is still on the jack stands. And he was nice enough to share that with us, so that's kind of cool.
That's probably the biggest mistake that I've made with it, and I've made some. But one of the things that I've learned throughout the my life is that there's a lot of things that we worry about. It's either too early or too late. It's too early to worry about it or too late to worry about it. It's already over.
Right.
So I don't. And my favorite Bible verse is 1 Peter 4:7. It says, the end of all things is near, so be sober and clear-minded so you can pray. And I paraphrase that. I say, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff. This transmission was an expensive mistake, but it's not the end of the world. And the bottom line is, if I couldn't replace it, it'd still be sitting here in a year. I don't know. Whatever it takes. But whatever happens, happens. As long as you keep focused on what the real thing is.
The real thing.
Be sober and clear-minded. Think about Christ. Peter said that to the Christians when they were being persecuted by Rome, and their life was not easy. And Peter said, the end of all things. Now, he didn't just say the end of persecution. He said the end of all things. The end of all the sweet things, the end of all the bad things. The end of all things is near. So be sober and clear-minded so you can pray.
Yeah.
That's pretty much been my philosophy. Just let it be. And don't let things get you down. Pay attention to your relationships. Pay attention to your family, your wife, that kind of stuff. But
pay attention to your relationship with God.
Especially. You don't have a very good relationship with the rest of us if you can't pay attention.
That's exactly right.
So that's basically where it comes from. I've had a good time doing this. I've had one short drive. One of the frustrations was trying to get this thing legal. The paperwork. Step one is you have to get a 551 filled out. You got to take it out to the highway patrol, and they got to verify that you own that engine. You didn't take it out of some stolen car. That kind of thing. Then you got to take that paperwork and send it or take it to Jefferson City. I made the mistake of sending it to Jefferson City, and I found out later after I sent it off the 1st of July, I called and got the middle of July, they were working on stuff in May, from May. Fortunately, I drove up there for some reason and went into the motor vehicle building, and they were nice enough to dig through that pile of mail and got mine out.
Did they?
And filled it out right there.
Wow.
So I got that done.
Good job, Missouri.
A little sooner than I expected to get it done. Then you have to go back to the highway patrol because they'll get you a new VIN number, ID number. So I went back to the highway patrol and they put it on the car. Then you got to get a safety inspection from Missouri. I got that. Then you got to go to the license bureau and take your paperwork there and get licensed. One of the problems I had is in order to get to the highway patrol, I had to have an insurance on it. So I put insurance on it before I had a VIN number. So the insurance serial number didn't match the VIN number so I had to go back to the insurance company and back to the back to the motor vehicle department. All that took a while.
Yeah.
Finally got a license plate on it, took it for a drive. Beautiful day, one of those cool days lately, and the back end locked up on it. Just like that. I was sitting in the middle of the road for about an hour and a half looking for a flatbed to get me out of there. But, that being said, I'm happy as a lark. I've got a new transmission coming, got somebody gonna help me put it in. It's gonna work out fine. Bottom line is, no matter what happens to the car, I'm happy.
There you go. There you go. That sums it up pretty effectively right there. Especially since those of you that have been watching Adventure Possible, we want to focus on what's real, what's important. And this is fun. It's a blessing to be able to do it. And John's done a good job with it. So we'll get back home here after a while. We'll bust out the board in today's episode, and we'll move on from there. So thanks for tuning in to this point. I'll be right back with you shortly. All right, guys, we are back home, and it is time to bust out the board. The end of every video, you know, we're going to do it. We're going to bust it out. We're going to do a little recap of the video and try to tie it in with a little inspiration, a little motivation, a little encouragement, some challenges, and again, focus on what's real. I tell you what, special thanks to John for letting me come over and do a little interview with him regarding his Replica 65 there. That thing was super, super cool. And you'll notice that he was very upfront, honest, and direct with us. He had his share of problems doing that project, and it's still not over yet. And he's been working on it off and on for quite a while. But he's close. He just needs to take it to the finish line now and reap the rewards of his hard labor. So, again, that car project was trying at times. And if you remember, his favorite Bible verse, which I'm going to use that today, is 1 Peter 4:7. The end of all things is near. Therefore be clear-minded and self-controlled so that you can pray. What in the world does that mean? Well, he said he paraphrased it in, don't sweat the small stuff. The things that are here and now. And the Lord blesses us with fun things. You know, I like to go shooting. I like to go fishing. I like to go four-wheeling. And I own guns and I own four-wheelers. And, you know, I'm blessed with friends that like to do that same stuff. But those are blessings. But those are not eternal. Those are for the here and now and blessings for us to enjoy. Just like that Cobra is. He's been blessed to have the resources to buy a kit like that. He's retired. He has the time. And he is enjoying every minute, even through the mistakes and the pain and the frustration that you know he experienced while doing that. And again, it's not over. He's going to have a little bit of fun left getting that transmission in. But then again, he is going to have a blast running down the highway and going to some car shows and just enjoying his labor. But now I want to turn it to what is eternal and where we place our energy and our focuses and our thoughts on the eternal. And a couple questions for you, and answer them yourself. You don't need me to answer them. I don't know you well enough yet to answer them, but your relationship with God is your business, and I'm just here to challenge you. So, first question, do you currently live as if you're expecting to meet Christ? Do you even think about it? Christ is coming back, and when he does, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that he is the King. There is no doubt about that. So, there was a lot of witnesses, over 500 at one time, that saw Jesus after he was raised from the dead. If you don't know that story, dig into it. You'll see. You've never met George Washington, but you've heard stories that he existed, and you believe he existed. A lot of witnesses saw Jesus too. He's coming back. My challenge to you is, do you live each day as if you're expecting it? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Second question is, are you continually growing in love for God? Or are you, like me at times, unfortunately, taking God for granted? I do. I admit it. We all do. We all fall short. I'm not perfect. I've shared that with you many times. I'm not. None of us are. It's not easy. You have to work at it. So you can do it. You can do it too. Give it a shot. I encourage you to do it. Number 3, do you pray regularly? And this is one that's big. You have to pray regularly. If you have never tried it, or you've only done it whenever a loved one was sick, or you wanted something really bad, or you were scared, try doing it when things are good. Pray for your family. Pray for your friends, your job, your coworkers, the nation, the president. Pray and see God work and see how he answers prayer. Do you help needy people? We don't enough. There are a lot of needy people in the world. We need to help needy people. All that you own, any status that you currently have, none of that's going to mean anything in God's kingdom. None of it. Your money, your possessions, your status, your title, it's all irrelevant in the kingdom of God. I encourage you to invest in your time, invest your energy, and your thoughts into things that have eternal significance. Thinking about that. Don't just think about the here and now and what the world wants you to focus on. Focus on what has eternal significance and what will bring you eternal life. There's only one thing that'll do it. We got to get everybody to heaven. That's the goal. We got to try. Again, I'm not perfect. I've never met anybody that's perfect, but I know of one man that was perfect, and that's our Lord and Savior Jesus. So, all right. If you liked it, please subscribe. If you liked it, please share. Check us out on Facebook now, Adventure Possible Mo. I had to change it up a little bit. I was having some issues I shared with you, but we changed some things around. You'll find it in there. Share that and give us a thumbs up. And I'm telling you, we got a lot of stuff planned, and it's good stuff and it's fun stuff. I got something going on next week again that I think is super cool if we can get it pulled together. So, all right, we appreciate you. Until next week, pray hard and blessings to you.